Okay, so this week I only took one trade. Main reason is once YM starts to go into these all-time highs, it's not as many valuable and high quality setups appearing as much. So when they go into these all-time highs, the typical trades I take are going to be continuation trades based off of my London close setup. And if I see them targeting or potentially wanting to target some liquidity that is below us within the range that they've created as they made new highs. So that is exactly the trade that I took on Thursday. It was pretty obvious. I did get on the charts late, so I actually got a late entry compared to what I could have had I already been on the computer. But either way, the obvious target was London low, Asian low. We had inducement here and a fair value gap. My first mind was simply just to take the trade down to Asian and London low. But as they came down to Asian and London low, they gave great price action, just still going strong bearish. Strong momentum, still closing price lower and lower to the downside. So it only made sense for me to stay in the trade. And then ultimately I came down and target this fair value gap. I was pretty confident it was a good place to go, being that that's another type of setup I take where it's inducement right above the fair value gap or inducement right above the demand. I looked at that as a possible area the trade could stop at for a reversal or either just stalling out for the day and just that demand holding price there to the end of the day. They actually ended up going a lot lower, which is cool, but nevertheless, all I needed was the sell down. So how did I get into this trade? Understand that first off, 9:30 candle came out and they swept 8 o'clock. So they swept the New York high, the original New York high, right? Now, New York had already swept London and Asian. So the buy could have been valid. But once I saw this price action, it just wasn't clear. Yeah, you had a sweep of liquidity here, but then the next few candles that came out, none of them gave any clarity and direction, and they actually stayed within the range of this previous bearish engulfing candle. So there was no reason for me to look to take the buy unless they had pushed up and closed above this candle or came and closed above London. Then I would have looked to take a trade going into possibly targeting these highs here for inducement and possibly targeting the all-time high, which is a little higher up. Now, 9:30 came out. Once they swept the 8 o'clock candle and they began to flip down, I went ahead and pulled the candle, pulled the trade right when they went below this area here because I was pretty confident at that point that they would just probably continue to press down and possibly target again London and Asian low. That candle, once I hopped in the trade, they did press down pretty hard and then they actually withdrew up and left a wick here. But the candle still closed bearish, which gave me plenty of directional intent to just stick to the trade. At this point, 9:30 swept 8 o'clock, so this is the same kind of order block. If they did decide to pull back up, this could have just been used simply as a supply, and they could have continued down, or they could have reversed. At that time, we just reassess, right? 9:45 candle comes out, strong bearish engulfing candle closing below the 9:30 candle wick, which is even more indication that the strength was still to the downside. Gave me more conviction and confidence to stay in the trade to target London and Asian low here. So 9:45 came out, and then next candle here kind of stalled out sideways for a second, but then that bearish strength came right back in and continued down. So once they got down here and this candle here closed, I was confident that they would go past Asian and London and they would actually come down to take out this inducement and give us some type of reaction to this fair value gap. And from there, I just pretty much held the trade all the way down. I did take partials once this candle closed. I took partials, and once I saw this candle here, did like efficient pricing, mitigated this bearish engulfing candle, but did not go above or close bullish at all. I was confident to stay in the trade. So yeah, pretty simple. Only one trade this week. It is what it is. Sometimes we get these types of weeks where it's not much opportunity based on how we trade, but this is the trade that I took. This is how it played out. So yeah, it was a pretty good week.